So that I would look at it this way. I would say depends. Now, if you really love the job, do you have to step away? No. But does it give you options? Does it give you more choices? Does it give you the opportunity to say, oh, you know what, this company I have to work 60 hours to make it, can I do another company with a lesser pay with just 40 hours? Yes, it gives you that option, right? So why not have that option? Why not have that choice that you could do when you have an income stream? And not just that, eventually if you choose to and the income stream is large enough, you could potentially leave a job. So the thing to do there is not really saying that we want them to leave their jobs, but if they choose to, they can do that. It's just giving them more options in life.
We're going to roll right into our next guest. We have Dee with us. How are you? Welcome to the Kingdom REI Live Show.
Hi, doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. So another fabulous queen we have with us. And again, I was like, Kaylee, who do we need to bring on that would just make this an amazing show? And we could call this the Queens of Real Estate. And this was the second person that Kaylee recommended. You might have been first, actually. I don't want to put them in order for Kaylee's sake here, but these are the two. So we're really, really excited to have you. Where are you calling in from?
I am in a trailer park on my vacation.
Hey, there you go.
This is the ocean shores, I believe. Yeah, it's like by the ocean. I'm not opening the windows, else you will just stop doing this interview and want to go onto the beach.
Well, Kaylee and I are in San Diego, so we got access to the beach too. But
Okay,
anyways,
okay, that's great. Nice, and it's nice and sunny there, looks like.
it's actually not today, is it, Kaylee? We're kind of in a what we call the June or May gray. I don't know if you knew that before you came here, Kaylee, but we're in a month called May gray, so it
Okay.
typically is not nice weather. So sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I know all about the grays. I live in Seattle. So it's grays every day, and then you have some days of sunshine where you just go out on vacation and give interviews.
So Dave, I'm excited to get to know you. I know that you have a background in kind of corporate. You've worked, in tech, some large companies, and now you're into real estate. So there's a lot here, Kaylee. And I love for you to help lead this, but I'm definitely interested in kind of how you got into this from your background. But before I get into that, Kaylee, any introduction you want to give for her before we get going?
Yeah. So Deep has an incredible background in the corporate world. So I had stayed the corporate world for like 3 years maybe, and I got out of it. So she's been able to climb the corporate ladder and do very well, train other people, project manage. If I'm going to get this correct, I believe that you were with Microsoft for quite a while, and then now with Amazon, and works with teams of people. And so she's very collaborative. And also, my personal experience with her doing a deal has been that she's willing to, think about the what do you call it, the organism over the cell, you know what I mean, think about the team. And so I really 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 appreciate that, because I've dealt with the opposite. And especially in America, you know what I mean, it's normal for you to just kind of look out for yourself. But that's how we've connected. And so you even told me certain things from a perspective of, having a smaller company, and give me ideas. Okay, well, now it's time to start doing standard operating procedures. Okay, now it's time to start making systems and doing things. And so you've been kind of a great coach to me, using your background, which has been awesome. And so marrying the two together, you do quite a bit. Not just that, but also you're a real estate agent, also you're an investment with your husband, so there's quite a bit there.
So,
Yeah.
Deep, I'm curious, like after a long career in tech and with Microsoft and some of these large, why go into real estate? I'm curious kind of how you made that transition and even why.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting thing to talk about, right? And if any of you have been in a corporate job, you would know that there is this specific structure to that job. You could keep climbing the corporate ladder as well, but at the end of the day, you're still reporting to somebody. You're still having to follow that structure. And that, if you see the flip side of it, like what does even a 9 to 5 job mean? Does is life like that by design, like where we designed to be like that? So my thing was that My daughter, I have a 9-year-old, and I wanted to be with her. And as I thought that, oh, I am in this job, and tomorrow, I mean, she had, this is just like a personal thing. She had an event, and I went to the event. It was Mother's Day. And then she, her teacher asked her to say something. And she said, oh, you know what? I love my mother, and she works a lot. And then she gives me a lollipop. And then it was almost like, oh my God, I have to like compensate not being with her. I'm compensating that by a lollipop. And I just like, that thing just stuck to me. And I'm sure that's not just for me, that's for everybody. I mean, we love what we do in our 9 to 5 jobs, but there has to be this degree of freedom that we go towards eventually, where we are able to spend the time we want with our kids, with our family. And I think real estate to me is that vehicle where I can create that passive investment, that funds, where then we could take, instead of trading our time for money, now we have that income coming in and we can take some of that time back. And that is what really fascinated me about real estate. I've been doing this for 10 years in terms of the investment, just more recently got into not just doing more for myself, getting into multifamily, but also helping others do the same. So I think this is where I want to take it, is where I people are creating passive income streams for themselves, and they can take back their time or stop trading that much of their time for money.
So let's talk about that on the education side of you now helping other people. And I noticed on your website you also kind of had an intentional focus on helping women in tech or women in corporate get into real estate. Why did you choose that focus?
Yeah, so as I've seen women around me, and they kind of deal with the same sort of issues. So women have this, they have to do this balancing act, right? Like family, there is job, there is community, which they feel, most women feel very strongly about. There is their faith, and so on. So when then they have to do this balancing act, there's always this thing of like, how do we do manage our time, how do we manage our money? And this, when you see in a corporate environment, is much more intense. Especially in technology, you will see that the ratios, male to female, is highly skewed. There are more women coming into the field, but right now you get up to, like, I would say 25% is the ratio, men to women, 1:3. And what that does is the environment becomes very different in terms of how people interact with each other. And then the sort of stress levels are there. But then on the other side, because this environment tends to be really very driven, people get into it, busy, lots of work, 60 to 80 hours weeks, then they don't have time to create this passive income stream to ultimately get their time back. They are just in that cycle, right? So what do they do? To They have the money, like they have money coming in. These people have made pretty much, many of them make six figures, and on a routine basis, and they have a really good portfolio in terms of the stock that they get from their companies. But they don't have the time to be able to then invest it into vehicles that would then give them ultimately their time back, right, by having these passive income. So what could we do to help this group? They have the money, but they don't have the time. So could we really find the right deals, find the more lower risk, high returns deals for them that can really eventually help them create this passive income flow? And that's what I want to go for.
Is the goal to help them step away from the job?
So that I would look at it this way. I would say depends. Now, if you really love the job, do you have to step away? No. But does it give you options? Does it give you more choices? Does it give you the opportunity to say, oh, you know what, this company, I have to work 60 hours to make it. Can I do another company with a lesser pay with just 40 hours? Yes, it gives you that option, right? So why not have that option? Why not have that choice that you could do when you have an income stream? And not just that, eventually, if you choose to, and the income stream is large enough, you could potentially leave a job. So the thing to do there is not really saying that we want them to leave their jobs, but if they choose to, they can do that. It's just giving them more options in life. And I think these are important for women to have that option, right? Tomorrow they feel that they want to be with their children the whole time. They can just take time off work, stay with their children when they're growing up for a few years, and then go back to their corporate job. Totally doable, right? So it's these options and these choices that we want to create for women.
Caleb, feel free to break in here. I just have so many great questions. Such sharp folks. What's the expectation for timeline typically you set when you're talking with investors deep on when someone says, cool, well, how long would this take? Like, what, how do you help them kind of create a framework of, what is it actually, how long would it actually take to achieve this type of financial freedom?
Yeah, so that is very much of a question which is there's not like one size fits all, in a way. And the reason I say that is because not just the fact that needs vary. Somebody could live with 40K a year, somebody wants 400K a year. Those kind of needs vary. And also in terms of what they're looking for, like, are you looking to leave your job right away and retire and do something else, or are you a 10-year timeline is okay for you? So it's kind of like a whether you want to do a passive income flow, whether you want looking for appreciation, whether you're looking just to park your money. There are these various things that come into picture, and that need to fit into their personal life equation as well. So that's kind of like in a sense, in some sense, matchmaking is what we do. Like, this is what your need is, this is what is available, and this is what the timeline would work for you. So kind of bringing those things together to create something that fits for them.
We got to wrap up in about 5 minutes, but Kayla, I want to give you the opportunity to speak or ask anything before we let Deep out of here today.
Yeah. So I guess I haven't thought about anything.
That's okay. Well, I mean, I'm just curious, like even from what you're hearing, I mean, for those who are listening, I mean, anything that you would add that might, to what she's saying, or that in your talking with investors um, that resonates with you, that you continue to repeat in your conversation with investors.
Yeah, I mean, and Deep and I talk about this all the time. I think that, for me, being able to provide something to women to be able to have an alternative. So, for example, I've got friends, multiple friends that, or even my aunts, that think, oh, I got to work 5 jobs so I can support my kids, and I work by myself, or I'm a single parent. And now that more and more divorces are happening, that's more of something that we need to pay attention to and provide options, for women to be able to take care of themselves and their kids. Just speaking from my perspective in the South, typically, unless the mother is like a crack addict, and I hate to say it like that, but seriously, every judge usually defaults to giving the mother the children. So she physically has them like almost all the time. And so how can she still work? How can she still make income and still be able to be with them and not work all the time and never be with them? And how do you get more balance? You know what I mean? So being able to have that option, and be able to, maybe have bigger things later on, or be able to put aside money for your children when you're gone, or be able to, who knows, start a family office at some point if you want, or whatever. But those options don't start until you can make some time for yourself to be able to address even sometimes deeper issues, personally, that I had to deal with. But that, freedom of time, by having passive income is something that I think everybody needs to be aware of. So I think that that's really important. So it's just like another perspective, I guess.
I think what's so helpful about hearing, like, you both being women, it's the conversation that I love being a part of, and thinking like, what are the concerns and needs? Like, this is a way we can really serve people, specifically women, that I don't really touch on or think about in terms of way I'm marketing or talking to investors. And so I'm very grateful that you guys took the time to be on here today, because it does seem like, hey, we have an incredible solution for a very, very large demographic of our nation, that, if, and again, like most people, and even though we're in this circle, and I have to remind myself and others in our community of this, is like, I know we talk about this a lot, and like, we're doing these deals and we see these solutions, but the majority of people in our country still have no idea about this thing called real estate investing, like passive investing. I mean, it is completely foreign. And to Deep's point, most people have a stock portfolio, and their financial plan is, one day I can draw 3% from that one day. And the problem is that most people are scared to access that because they're so worried it's going to run out. Like, should I access it? I don't know if I have enough yet. And so to think that we can actually provide an opportunity for people to access funds earlier, and yet have their money continue to grow is a massive, massive solution. So really thanks so much for just kind of bringing that today. Deep, I want to give you a chance to let everyone know where they can learn about you and your company, if you wouldn't mind sharing that.
Yeah, sure. So this is kind of, my goal is really to help women be more financially independent and emotionally healthy. And for that, I've created a website where I do this, the real estate investing education, and help them get into real estate investments. So my website is investorina.com, as in investment plus ballerina, if you put that together. So investorina.com, and go on there, check me out and call me. Set up time with me and we'll talk and we'll see how we can help you.
Investorina. I love that. That's great. Investorina.com. Cool. Well, Deep, it was really great having you. I'm so great to meet you. And when you're down here in San Diego, be sure to reach out to us.
Sure. Thank you for inviting me. And
Absolutely.
always great to speak to Kelly.